Regional councillors at work to speed up the decentralization process in Cameroon. The full development of powers is a prerequisite for local development and emergence. The 7:30 News presents measures to facilitate their mission. Extreme confusion at the heart of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF, as two party bigwigs engage in fierce kickbacks. Understanding the controversy and the impact on the party's leadership come up tonight. Good evening and thanks for joining us. Those were the headlines of the 7:30 News.
I urge you once again to put on your face masks, to wash your hands regularly, and to consult a physician or any other health personnel if you notice any symptoms. This is the only way to save lives and to curb the spread of the virus.
Welcome back. It is 3 months since regional councillors voted to fast-track the decentralization process began work. The system of representation which brings the people closer to development ties slowly on the availability of resources to ease their action and implement targeted projects. But just how effective has the development of competences to local authorities been? Constantine Baum has been finding out and now reports.
It might look as if after the election of regional councillors, the decentralization process has come to a halt as many expected to see the councils get to work. This is not the case as the process is being carefully implemented, with the most recent action taken on it being the March 3, 2021 joint circulars of the Ministries of Finance and Decentralization and Local Development that outline how the budgets of regional councils will be drafted, managed and who does what in the execution of the budget. Other major steps taken to facilitate the devolution of powers to the regions include the appointment of secretaries general for the bodies, as well as making available the financial regimes of the regional and local authorities. All these are efforts to establish a system of representation that is closer to the people, with the goal of promoting local development and emergence of the nation. With powers devolved upon regions, the institutions have to deliberate on development plans and programs, budgets, administrative and management accounts, the creation and management of public amenities of regional interest in the areas of secondary schools, health, public and sanitation, road infrastructure, classified under regional domain. For now, 15 out of 19 ministries have already deposited their draft projects which have been examined, and if the powers that be approve them, more resources will get to the regional councils as soon as possible. 3 more projects will be examined next week at the Ministry of Decentralization and Local Development.
The Northwest Regional Assembly has a plethora of lofty projects that can sustainably contribute to the development and reconstruction of the region. The main hindrance constitutes not only the socio-political crisis, but also the absence of adequate resources. Kilo Valerie Insala reports that the population expects quick actions from the Assembly.
Many in Bamenda are chiseled by hunger. COVID is striking, and the security troubles are draining many locals in the region perched on the beggarly and struggling end of the survivor bargaining equation. They look up to the newest political structure in town, the Regional Assembly, with a mixture of expectations and cautious optimism.
They can only prove their existence by their works.
It is just a creation of an association for some political barons and not for the interests of the people.
The Regional Assembly officials clarify that the structure's activities are a work in progress, with peace and development major axes of planning.
We cannot actually take a decision now because we have not actually prepared our standing order. Restore peace back in our region. That is our #1 priority, because there cannot be any meaningful development without peace.
The occupants of the Northwest Regional Assembly, with a peculiar setup of the House of Divisional Representatives and the House of Chiefs, were elected into office roughly 3 months ago.
In the Adamawa region, the regional council has been seeking ways to tackle the socio-economic challenges faced by the population. The regional president, Dr. Muhammadu Dewa, has been liaising with traditional rulers and social groups to identify priority options that can improve on livelihoods. Ellis Waji Bagmia has the details.
After their installation last January 22, members of the Adamawa Regional Council have been busy holding regular meetings and drawing a strategic roadmap to impact the region.
The office is functional. We are ready, working. The activity is to meet the other ministry who work in our region, Adamawa. So I have a lot of information.
With data collected for the last 3 months across the region, the Bureau confirms that priority shall be placed on the education and health sectors.
Training needs in the whole region. We have only, I say only, 247 nurses. It's not possible. In the Mayabanyo region, we need 16 classrooms. 16. Only in Mayabanyo region.
Officials of the Adamawa Regional Council maintain that the complete allocation of needed funds will greatly help to create socio-economic development as well as increase efficiency and improve the quality of services at different levels.
On to one of our top stories, the power tussle in the Social Democratic Front, SDF, is evident in the controversial outings of its two-party bigwigs who represent different visions. Since the party national chairman, Nijon Frunde, announced his intention to hand over leadership of the political outfit he has led for over 30 years, the battleground seems set. In our investigative report tonight, Kilian Dandifon looks at how this discord can disintegrate the SDF.
The crisis in the Social Democratic Front Party is first of all that of leadership.
An internal struggle with two factions, respectively led by Honorable Joshua Ossi and Honorable Jean-Michel Ninche. This struggle began when the chairman, Nijon Frunde, said that he was close to retirement.
The leadership tussle is generated by divergence in vision.
Honorable Ninche represents what I can call the hawks in the party, the hardline faction, and Honorable Joshua Ossi represents the doves and the soft line of the party.
The crisis exposes the already weakened opposition party of Nijon Frunde to several political stakes.
Every faction wants to take the leadership to control the party. I think that the Social Democratic Front has faced in the past many crises of the same type. In the 90s, between Nijon Frunde and Suleiman Mahamat, other politicians like Christophe Takuju, Siga Sanga, and have also the struggle with Bernard Muna.
The party has regulatory structures that handle litigations within its organizational chart.
The National Executive Committee has to take its responsibility in order to restore order and discipline in the party.
The question is, will the SDF not disintegrate after its national chairman, Nijon Frunde?
On to news from Parliament, a special plenary sitting on road safety and initiatives to curb road accidents in the country has taken place at the National Assembly. Chaired by the Senior Deputy Speaker, Honorable Ilariong Itong, and organized by the Cameroonian legislators for road security, the sitting grouped members of governments and the lawmakers who committed to turn the tides of the phenomenon which could become a leading cause of death in the country. Charles Ebune reports.
Today is World Meteorology Day, and the road accident temperature of recent in the country has been very high based on the casualties recorded, which the Parliamentary Network for Road Safety has turned into a national security concern. The Global Road Safety Report states that road accidents kill 1.2 billion people each year. The special plenary on road safety is attended by all the key ministries involved in the traveling chain, other actors, and the civil society.
Together with them, we've been able to look at the state of affairs, the challenges to road safety.
At the plenary, Senior Deputy House Speaker Hilarion Eton lauded the initiative of the Parliamentary Network for Road Safety for prioritizing Cameroonian lives. We must go beyond that to educate, sensitize road users to respect speed limits. The government bench outlined policy guidelines to curb road accidents in the country and promised to work with all to reduce them to their simplest expression in this country. Our road safety action is to prevent accidents, and the radar is just an element used. After the plenary sitting, some cabinet members started to defend bills submitted by the government.
We export a lot of our commodities, products to Great Britain. For instance, banana.
It is the case with the Finance Committee of the National Assembly and the Foreign Affairs Committee, which will handle, amongst others, the military agreement between Cameroon and Turkey.
And now on to diplomacy. The Speaker of the National Assembly, the Right Honourable Kawege Jibril, has accompanied External Relations Minister Mbela to visit the new edifice of the National Assembly under construction in Yaoundé. The visit to the structure, sponsored by the Chinese government, is one of the official events to mark 50 years of diplomatic relations between Cameroon and China. Charles Ebonne reports on the tour attended by the Chinese ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Wang Yingwu.
The reconstruction of the fire-damaged locale of the National Assembly by the Chinese to the tune of plus 50 billion CFA francs is one of the signpost examples of the strategic link between Yaoundé and Beijing.
This project is one of the major projects that is going to once more try to show the strongness of our cooperation.
Today's visit to the site where the National Assembly structure is being redone by the House Speaker Kawege Jibril, accompanied by External Relations Minister and the Chinese Ambassador to Cameroon, is the first official activity to mark 50 years of relations between Cameroon and China. 50 years on, our cooperation is sincere, fraternal and fruitful. The project coordinator took time to explain to the personalities present the rate of the work executed already. As of date, the construction work is at 70% of execution, the same for the banquet hall, and by July, we will be sealing both buildings. 3 days from now, Cameroon and China will celebrate half a century of diplomatic links.
Still in diplomacy, a debt relief agreement between Cameroon and Japan has been signed to aid the country in its strides to cushion the effects of the coronavirus pandemic. The accord, appended by the Japanese ambassador to Cameroon, His Excellency Osawa Totumo, and the Minister of Finance, Louis-Paul Mutaze, suspends Cameroon's debt worth 455 million CFA francs. Ewane Epole has the details.
Since the year 2009, Cameroon has signed 6 loan agreements with the Japanese International Cooperation Agency, JICA, to the tune of over 104 billion CFA francs to finance 6 projects.
Japan is a very important friend of our country. They have done something as far as the crisis in the northwest and southwest regions is concerned.
During the audience granted to the Japanese ambassador to Cameroon by the Minister of Finance, Louis-Paul Mutaze, the statesman discussed on these projects and also signed the G20 agreement.
The government of Japan decided the suspension of the debt services between Japan and Cameroon, 455 million francs CFA, within the framework of the Group 20.
According to the ambassador, the Japanese government is committed to assisting Cameroon in limiting the propagation of COVID-19 as part of measures to reinforce bilateral cooperation between the two countries.
In other news, cocoa growers in Bam and Kim division of the Centre region have been hailed for the premium cocoa beans produced and challenged to woo foreign buyers. The Minister of Trade, Luke Magwambarga Tangana, motivated the farmers in Biakwa while distributing cash bonuses to producers whose yields passed the quality control norms. Clarice Aritakan tells us more.
1,087 cocoa producers who supplied the local and international markets with some 3,097 tons of grade 1 cocoa. Their commitment to the sustainable production of the crop through their use of acceptable agric practices has earned them a cash reward ranging from 11,000 CFA francs to 1.8 million CFA francs.
It encourages us, the farmers, because when you are remembered, you will do your best.
A total of more than 216.8 million CFA francs will be handed out to the various cooperatives and common initiative groups of the Mbam and Kim division for their cocoa activity during the 2017-2018 season. A pat on the back, but also a challenge.
Quality is now a market requirement. It has to be very clear for the producer. Producer have to go to make more effort to be sure that they can have a free access in international and local market.
Next in line to benefit from the government-backed initiative are cocoa farmers of Makenene in the Mbam and Inobu division.
In health news, the use of traditional medicine to cure COVID-19 infections is gaining grounds in the country. A rush for concoctions like the Cleda solution and the Ngulbe Tara mixture is noticed in some cities, with patients acknowledging that they have regained their health after administration. Beatrice Ngum toured some neighborhoods in Yaoundé and its environs to watch the herbalists at work. Here's a report.
It's a Tuesday morning at Tom village on the outskirts of Yaoundé. At this open-air sensitization, the attendance is told only positive cases to COVID will receive the Cleda solution. Sister Solange has some 30 bottles of the concoction to distribute.
Last Friday we have 45 and we try to do the exams before giving the medicine.
The affluence around these portions from traditional pharmacopoeia goes from mouth to mouth. Ngulbetara, for instance, can be taken for preventive or curative results.
Just to have enough quinoins in your blood, so you take it in the morning, in the afternoon for 10 days, but you have to eat because it's very powerful. And then when you're sick, you have to take it 3 times.
These concoctions are alternative cures for COVID-19 that are pulling crowds to distribution sites and sales points. Promoters say the tap from Cameroon's forest to add health to life naturally.
When somebody is healed, he just informed his peers that there's something miraculous over there, and the name was Ngulbetara.
I think that now they have proof that the Cleda medicine is good.
Traditional pharmacopoeia is making herbal business a brand in the treatment of COVID-19.
In continuation of our series of road infrastructural development projects, the Vodulambebe Ndom stretch is one that is applauded by communities in different regions. From Lakia Division to Sanaga Maritime, as well as Nyong and Kele, the riverine population admit life is easier and the stretch offers a window of opportunities. Alphonse Abongwe reports.
It is a new paradigm for all the riverine populations between Evodula passing through Samakai to Mbebe, Nyanon and Dom in the Sanaga Maritime. Their bitter transportation and mobility stories have suddenly turned sweet with the coming of the new 87-kilometer route. We are now living an extraordinary reality. Yesterday we were in hell. The real intention of government is that cash crops and the sick in these agro-production basins be respectively evacuated with ease to the markets and hospitals.
The impact we can have very quickly is to see the number of patients that come here to our hospital increase.
My wife here, whenever she produces her bobolo and takes to Yaoundé, she returns same day and gets back to her farm.
When the plantain is in Yaoundé that you want to buy, they'll tell you 5,000. When you ask her why is the plantain so dear, they'll tell that where the plantain is coming from, the road there is very bad. Even to buy a small plantain to take it to Yaoundé, you pay 1,000 francs for the plantain inside the car because the road is bad.
The population also admit that the Evodulam-Beben-Dum road has further attracted sand miners whose activities were halted due to poor road network.
Now on to security news. The Northwest Delegate for National Security, Police Commissioner Wilson Elongjume, has been commissioned into office and urged to work in synergy with the population to restore peace in the region. He was installed by the Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bangangele, who enjoined him to neutralize separatist fighters. Ola Titanki tells us more from Bamenda.
This is the recently appointed Northwest Delegate for National Security. The Senior Commissioner, Wilson Elongjume, is taking over command at a time when kidnapping in demand for ransom and the fabrication and use of locally made explosive devices are on the rise in the region. The 48-year-old Senior Police Commissioner has been challenged by the Delegate General for National Security, Martin Bangangele, to use his wealth of experience to remobilize the security forces and fish out perpetrators, jeopardizing the peace of the region. A task the newly installed Northwest Regional Delegate for National Security believes it can be attained only when the population collaborates with the police force.
Police are not magicians. The partnership we have with the population is very important, and that's what is going to make us to succeed.
The Senior Police Commissioner, Wilson Elongjume, before his appointment on the 18th of March 2021, was Chief of the Public Security Police Station in Kumba. He takes over from Senior Police Commissioner Emil Ngosmo, who occupied the office since 2011. He moves to Yaoundé as Director of Finance, Computer Management and Logistics.
We now take you over to the Southwest region, where some 60 personnel of the penitentiary in Boya have received epaulets promoting them to higher grades in the Corps. Ombo Suzy Monjoa tells us more.
The medal award ceremony in Boya marked a turning point in the lives of personnel of the penitentiary who moved grades as senior prison chief warders, major prison chief warders, senior prison warders, and major prison warders.
By promoting them, the hierarchy wants all the other ones to emulate so as to give a very good output.
Amongst the major prison chief warders are nurses, agric and livestock technicians.
The agri officers come in with veterinary personnel to help in the social reinsertion of inmates, because we don't want that somebody leaves the prison today and tomorrow he is coming in.
To the newly promoted, it is an opportunity to serve in another level, and they are more determined to offer their patriotic service.
I've worked a lot. I started work at 1992. Up to this moment, if they have given me this epaulet, I'm very, very happy. I'm very happy.
Thank the penitentiary administration to move us ahead.
We promise them to work hard so that we can move more ahead again.
The decoration ritual ended with a march past.
Despite our efforts, COVID-19 plunged many families into mourning and seriously hampered the functioning of our economy and society.
The affluence in COVID-19 screening centers across the country is today proof that more and more persons are getting conscious of the existence of the virus. The new wave with symptoms that go beyond cold and cough has prompted many to know their status when they feel sick. Baldwin Sama and his guest, Dr. Eric Tandy, talk of this surge in interest. Hello, Baldwin.
Good evening to you, Esther Kima. It is no longer a surprise when you pass around most of these screening centers for COVID-19, whether you're in Yaoundé or in the nation's economic capital, Douala, or any other part of the country, when you notice this increase in the number of persons who go to have themselves screened for COVID-19. Why the affluence in most of these screening centers these days? Let's find out from Dr. Eric Tanzi, our guest tonight. Good evening to you, Doctor.
Yeah, good evening, buddy.
Why this increase in the number of persons who go and have themselves screened for COVID-19 in most of these screening centers these days?
Yeah, buddy, permit me to congratulate Cameroonians for their engagement and awareness as far as COVID-19 is concerned and their consciousness, you know. The increase in this has been due to the reason of cases, you know, the number of cases we've noticed within our communities has pushed the population to be conscious and go for screening, and I want to appreciate that. And again, the sensitization that we're doing by informing the population not to only stay at home and doubt their status, but to go for screening, I think it is something laudable to the population.
Thank you so much, Dr. Eric Tanzi. Whether you find yourself in, whenever you find yourself in Cameroon, if you notice any of these symptoms, talking about COVID-19, don't hesitate. Go and have yourself screened for COVID-19 and get to know your status and have yourself treated as far as the virus is concerned. Back to you, Esther Kima.
Thanks, Baldwin Sama, for that clarification. The ideal thing to do is to know your status, if you're COVID-19 positive or not. On to other news, the Safety Net Project and the Central Bureau of Census and Population Studies will be evaluating the program impact on host communities and refugee population in Cameroon. A protocol agreement has been signed to that effect between the coordinator of Safety Net, Micheline Joe, and the Director General of BUCREF, Bernadette Barga. Luma Slim Davies has the details.
The protocol agreement signed between the Safety Net Project and the Central Bureau of Census and Population Studies is first of its kind to enable the Safety Net Project determine the impact of assistance on beneficiary households of the Monetary Transfer Program on gender-based violence. Studies are supposed to be carried out on 5,200 men and 5,200 women jointly in 260 localities. So far, 80 households are identified and registered in 10 regional headquarters, including Limbe. The Safety Net Project is also focusing on an emergency meeting transfer program to fight against the coronavirus. The beneficiaries will each receive 180,000 francs in 3 installments in their accounts. First payments are expected to be made before the 15th of April 2021. The Director General of BUCREP, Bernadette Barga, says BUCREP has what it takes to meet the challenges and expectations.
In this advertorial, the duration of loan reimbursements at La Regional Savings and Loans has been extended to 10 years as the campaign launched on February 9 to sell shares ends on the 26th of March 2021. The revelation was made by the Chief Executive Officer, Reverend Charles Rollin, in a press conference, as we hear in this report by Anna.
Tempo d'Afrique. 14h, Manu Dibango, le souffle du Sphinx. 15h, soir au village. Et à 21h, Salut Manu, une émission spéciale avec la participation d'une quarantaine d'artistes d'ici et d'ailleurs. Mercredi 24 mars, c'est Spécial Manu sur la CRTV.